G'day viewers, well, soldiering on towards the business end of my video campaign, making a video every day in October, not that much longer to go, and today I'm here to bring you the unfortunate and unavoidable truth that your brain is stupid. By which I mean, it's really hard to trust things your brain tells you because your brain is so easily confused. This was highlighted for me this week. Two different photos I saw circulated. One is this picture, Tom Hanks or Bill Murray. Look at it. Once that idea gets put in your head that that's either Tom Hanks or Bill Murray, you can see both of them in it. Now, when you see them side by side, they look a bit similar. Murray's obviously considerably older, but this photo, because the facial expression, it could be either of them. At least we know for sure, unlike that whole, remember the blue dress? What colour was it really? Blue, gold? That was ambiguous because the photo in question was such a poor quality photo, shot in bad light, you couldn't actually give a conclusive answer based on that photo. In reality, the dress was definitely one thing. But that photo was so bad, there was all sorts of things came into play, like what sort of monitor or device you were looking at it on, what quality light was around you, and even just how you perceive things. But this picture, we know for sure, because the person who took it, they took a picture of Bill Murray, and it never seemed anything else to them till one of their friends went, "Oh my God, I thought that was Tom Hanks." And it could be either. Until you know which one it is, it could easily be either. And then there was this picture of this person with weirdly shiny legs. You look at legs and it's like they've either got some really glossy oil smoothed very evenly over their legs, or they're wrapped in plastic, or they are plastic. Except that isn't what's happening here. That person actually just has paint stains on their legs. And by weird chance, if you don't know that, when you first look at it, there's a very strong chance that you thought they were very shiny, plasticky legs. Now, once someone tells you that it's paint, you see the paint and it's very hard or impossible to see the shiny illusion again. But these are just examples of how stupid your brain is. People going, "Oh, I'll believe it with my own eyes." Your own eyes and brain are really unreliable. This image here is not moving. It's just the way the colours oppose one another. It tricks your brain and you start to see an illusion of movement. There are dozens of these types of illusions. And even going beyond that, we all know propaganda can make people believe things that are patently untrue. No matter what your political persuasion is, you've probably fallen victim to that. And you're quite convinced that people with different political views have been suckered into believing complete lies. And sometimes you can actually prove it to people. You can use actual objective evidence to prove someone believes something that is wrong, and often that won't help. They'll dig their heels in even harder. They think you're part of some conspiracy. And your brain is so easily manipulated, both in good or bad ways. You talk to anyone who has mental health issues. A trauma to your brain can induce mental health issues, can completely change your personality, can make you talk in a different accent. A change in your brain chemistry can completely change your personality, who you are. You can be in the depths of a crippling mental illness because chemicals shifted around in your brain. And when you're at the mercy of one of these mental health issues, as objective as someone can say, like, your life's not that bad. You have these things to be happy at. It just doesn't reach you because of what your brain is telling you is real. It's like someone who has anorexia. They look in the mirror as they are starving to death and they say, "I see a fat person." Standing outside of them, you go, no, I understand you want to lose weight, but you have to admit you're rake thin. They go, "No, I'm fat." That's what their brain tells them. And this crosses cultures. In some parts of the world, well, basically they have bigger concerns. So the idea of someone succumbing to anorexia or depression or anxiety doesn't make sense to them. But in parts of the world, it happens every now and then in different parts of Africa and Asia. Paranoia and mass hysteria about penis thieves. And the weirdest thing is, this is so easy to prove it isn't true, but people are killed because they're declared to be witches who stole someone's penis. My favourite story about this, in Africa, and when one of the outbreaks was open, some guy in the middle of a crowded square suddenly screamed, grabbed his crotch and pointed at a woman and said, "She's a witch, she gave me the evil eye and stole my penis." And the crowd went wild, and this woman was in serious danger, and there was a cop there who basically didn't believe the whole penis thief thing, and he called bullshit on the guy. He goes, "Okay," and he got his gun out and said, "Everyone calm the fuck down. You, okay, you say she stole your penis, pants down in front of everyone right now. Underpants, come on, show it." And of course, his penis was still there. And the cop said, "What do you have to say for yourself?" And the dude looked and went, "It used to be much bigger." Okay? So some manifestations of your brain being stupid can seem funny if you're outside of them. Some are awful. And interesting, even in positive ways. For those who don't know, Mrs. Angry is actually a psychologist. And she practiced some of her techniques on me. Two in particular she's exposed me to in the last year. One's called EMDR, which is often used to treat people with serious post-traumatic stress disorder. And a slightly simpler one is known as EFT, or tapping, because you tap various points. I think they're like acupressure points around your body while you say certain things. Now, when you look on paper at what these things are, they seem ridiculous. But what they are actually doing, the simplest way to describe it is they're distracting your brain. But they are literally changing certain cognitive functions. And with EMDR in particular, people who have bad PTSD, they have severe phobias about particular things, they have very traumatic memories, it makes them manageable. You don't forget the thing that was a problem for you before, but it can take away its power. And it's just like, that's how easy your brain is to manipulate. And the tapping one that's been done on me, the most recent, this is a true story. This is what happened. I have very bad eating habits. People say, "You fat bastard, why'd you get so fat?" Well, because I'm lazy and indulgent, okay? And I eat bad food all the time. And EFT can actually be really good for if you have cravings for food. When you feel like you literally can't resist a craving, it can actually take that power away. But it got flipped on me recently. Mrs. Angry did this thing because I don't eat nearly enough fruit and I eat hardly any vegetables. And it's previously been used to take away something's power. This was to make me like something. Like, I got a pear, and I don't like pears. I don't like them. And I took a bite of this pear as an example, and I couldn't even finish it. Like, it had no taste in my mouth. It tasted like, felt like wood pulp in my mouth. And I spat it out. And then did this tapping business, and I ate the whole pear, and it was nice. And that happened within a couple of minutes, and it did my head in. I'm like, what is wrong with my brain? How can my brain be tricked that easily? But that is all of us. So if you take one thing away from this video, when your brain is telling you bad things, particularly about yourself, that is not necessarily an objective truth. When it's your subjective world, it's very hard, if not impossible, to feel otherwise. But I always urge people, there is ridiculous sort of memes that get put around on the internet about, you don't need antidepressants, you need fresh air, you need exercise. Different people need different things. Different therapies, different seeing psychologists, counsellors works for some people. Medication works for some people. Medication does not work for everyone, and the same medication doesn't work the same way for everyone. Sometimes to treat things like depression, where medication helps, you sometimes have to actually try different drugs and different dosages, and you work with a doctor, a therapist, a psychiatrist, a psychologist to work these things out. When things get too much for you, Try not to feel hopeless. I think we've all been in positions where things feel hopeless. But while I was being very light-hearted with this thing, with the photos at the start, that's just a simple, practical demonstration. Your brain tells you things that aren't true. When you worry about what your brain is telling you, talk to someone, talk to a professional, and get some help, because it really makes a difference.